Alright, you guys. What's going on? I'm back. I know you haven't seen me in a while. I haven't made a video in a minute, but it's this whole YouTube thing, man. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. Um, it actually it's not letting me make videos like as quickly as I used to. I don't know what that's about. You know, if I make a video for 10 minutes or 7 minutes, you know, it takes at least 2 hours to to get to upload and get it processed, and just it's just too much for me, man. I'm making this video just so I can let you guys know. But this video is actually, I wanted to I should have been did this video, but I'm just now working up to working myself up to do it. I didn't want to go through all the difficulty. But yeah, I want to talk about UFC 117, man. What an awesome night of fights. What a great event. I really appreciate the UFC for sharing that card with us, man. The main event, you guys. Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva. Man, that's all I can say is whoa, whoa, whoa. Boy, did Chael Sonnen come out and do exactly what he said he was going to do. I made a video on here saying that Chael Sonnen didn't have a chance in this fight. And obviously, I went back and I watched the Nate Marquardt and the Yushin Okami fight. I had already seen the fight between him and Nate Marquardt. I haven't seen the one between him and Yushin at that time, Yushin Okami. But I just went back and I got reminded of the takedowns that he had, and just the overall dominance and just his ability to take guys down relentlessly. And I actually have to go back and watch that again, and I changed my mind. So I actually came on here. You can actually check that video out if you don't believe me. I actually came on here and said that I changed my mind. I said, man, Chael Sonnen does have a chance in this fight. He has a great chance. If so, he has more of a chance against Anderson Silva than anybody else. Man, I promise you. I know UFC, they obviously it's just my opinion. I know UFC, they put on a lot of fixed fights. I know you guys don't know about it, but they do. It's just the way it is. You might not like it. They do. And I'm not telling you, I'm not saying every fight is fixed, because it definitely is not. But they have some fights that in the UFC I have kind of seen the kind of eye-catching. I'm like, whoa, man, I don't know. I think that may have just been kind of politic. I don't know if that was real or not. I don't know if that fight was real, but this is not one of them. I mean, like I say, you just really never know, but I doubt a guy's going to want to take a ass beating like Anderson Silva did. I mean, he really just got beat up for 4.5 rounds. He got beat down. You understand? Like, I wouldn't even feel like a man no more if I got dominated that bad like that. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, until I can come back and get my revenge. If I was Anderson Silva, I couldn't retire without coming back and knowing that I really put an ass whooping on Chael Sonnen. This would have to go both ways. I would really have to come back and, I would have to make a statement if I was Anderson. I know he doesn't have anything to prove. He's the champion. He won. But if you really want to get technical, Chael Sonnen won that fight. He won the fight, man. Anderson Silva just won the fight as well, but he didn't win the fight. He just actually won the war, I guess. But I don't want to see a rematch between him and Chael Sonnen anytime soon. Let me just say that I personally want to see Anderson Silva in a stand-up war first. Okay, he's been fighting too many jiu-jitsu guys. He's been fighting way too many wrestlers. I want to see Anderson Silva getting there with a striker. Let him fight Vitor or Nate Marquardt or anybody. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I'm just sick and tired of seeing Anderson Silva trying to avoid getting taken down, trying to avoid getting submitted. I want to see Anderson Silva in an exciting fight going both ways. Now, obviously, this fight was very exciting due to Chael Sonnen, but I want to see a stand-up fight first before we have this. I don't want an immediate rematch. I hate immediate rematches. I don't like them. The only immediate rematch that I actually could see that was justified was the Shogun versus Machida. That was it, man. Because in my opinion, Shogun won that first fight, so that was justified. This BJP and Frankie Edgar fight, like I say, it could be justified. But hey, look, man. Look. I'm just getting tired of all these rematches. I don't want to see Chael Sonnen. You know, I don't want to see him fight Anderson Silva right away. You know, let him take a long break. Let these guys get healed up. Let their bodies heal up. And let Anderson come back and fight Vitor. And if he beats Vitor Belfort, then just make the Chael Sonnen fight. You know, I want to see him fight this guy before he retires, and I want to see him redeem himself, you know, of getting just dominated. Although it's not really that surprising when you go back and look at Chael Sonnen's fight. Chael Sonnen has dominated very tough guys. Nate Marquardt was thought to be the #2 middleweight. What is it? Yeah, 185 pounder in the world. But Nate Marquardt goes right in there and runs over him like a freaking truck and beat the hell out of him. You know. Now why Chael Sonnen's opponents, they never look as beat up as he does? I don't know, because to me he opens up a can of whoop ass on all of his opponents. You see, if you got to think about this, if common sense will tell you that Chael Sonnen is a tough fighter. He's not a skilled fighter, but he's a tough fighter because of his wrestling background. And common sense will let you know that he's not going to be a cakewalk for anybody. The only type of guy that's going to give Chael Sonnen big problems is jiu-jitsu artists. You know, guys who really know their jiu-jitsu well. You know, it's an art, you know, and it's basically a way of life. You know, people like Damian Maia, you know, people like you know, it's plenty of people in the way. They got this little short guy that Nate Marquardt's about to fight. I can't pronounce his name right now, but he's beginning to be one of my favorite fighters. It's kind of weird. One of my favorite fighters. I don't even know his name, but I just like to watch him fight, man. And if you ask me, he's a dangerous guy, even more dangerous than Damian Maia. I never really see Damian Maia pull off ankle locks or arm bars. You just always see Damian Maia pulling off chokes or either triangles. You know, that's about it, you know. But he's a great, you know, those are the kind of guys that's going to give Chael Sonnen, you know, basically going to beat him, you know, because his kryptonite is submissions. Yeah, Chael Sonnen has not really been knocked out. You know, if he has, I don't know about it. He may have, but I don't know. He hasn't been, you know, hasn't beaten a decision that I know of. I could be wrong. He may have, but bottom line, this guy's, he's very tough. I don't like him. I don't like Chael Sonnen whatsoever. You know, I think he's a jerk. Despite maybe he's even just doing this for attention. You know, maybe he's just trying to. Look, you know, he thought to himself, this is my time to let the whole world know who I am. I'm going to let people know who the hell I am right now. I may not ever get another chance to fight for this title again. So I guarantee you're going to know my name. I understand that. But to go in there and insult this guy the way he did, I just want to see him take a beating for it. But I have to give him props. I have to give credit where credit is due. Chael Sonnen beat the living shit out of Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva is my favorite fighter. Period. You know, whether he's my favorite fighter or not, I got to tell it like it is. He got beat up. And but that's what champions are made for. They always find a way to win. So congratulations to him. Now about this GSP shit. This GSP versus Anderson Silva. Let me just touch up on a few things, okay? Okay, I like GSP. I like him a lot. He's a hell of a fighter. You have to give this guy props. You have to give him credit for standing champion, the welterweight champion, for as long as he has. But do I think George St. Pierre faces top level competition? No. I think he's a bit overhyped. Do I think he's the best welterweight in the world? Yeah, I do. But that being said, to me, there's not a lot of tough welterweights, and it's just my opinion. It's not a lot of tough welterweight. To me, Thiago Alves was always overhyped. He wasn't that good. I like the guy, but I got to keep it real. Just respect my opinion. I respect yours. You know what I'm saying? Thiago Alves, he's good. He's kind of one-dimensional. You know, he has a few other tools in his kit, but I just never really thought this guy was that good. This video may end up going into part 2 because I don't think I'm going to be able to get it all. But John Fitch is good, but John Fitch isn't really as good as people think he is. Yeah, he's a grinder, and yeah, he knows how to get the win, but who has John Fitch really beaten that's really tough? Diego Sanchez? Diego Sanchez isn't all that great. I mean, yeah, he's a grinder too, and he scraps, but he's not that great technically. He's not that technically sound. You know, just, you know, Matt Hughes is an okay fighter. You know, GSP beat him. I just don't think that there are a lot of top welterweights out there. You know, I think it's a lot of welterweights are they're not very technical. And George St. Pierre happens to be the best of the welterweights, and that's just all it is. Now, until we can get a guy in there who knows what he's doing, and I believe that Jake Shields could possibly be the one to just stop George St. Pierre's reign. I don't know. You never know. Anything can happen. Jake Shields is not that technical. He's pretty boring fighter, but I still like to watch him fight. He's one of my favorite fighters too. But you just never know. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people saying that, oh, you see what Chael Sonnen did to Anderson Silva? Just imagine what GSP would do. Man, if you think that George St. Pierre is going to go in there and do what Chael Sonnen did against Anderson Silva, you are smoking crack, period. George St. Pierre is nowhere near the wrestler that Chael Sonnen is. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. Hey, I like GSP, but I'm not living in fantasy land here. You know, if I guarantee you, if George St. Pierre goes up to 185 and takes on Chael Sonnen, I guarantee you Chael Sonnen is going to come out on top. Especially if they have a wrestling match, George St. Pierre cannot out-wrestle Chael Sonnen. It cannot be done. You can believe this shit if you want to about George St. Pierre wrestling with these Olympic guys, and he gives them a run for their money, and he takes down Rashad Evans at will. Man, I'm not buying it. No, I'm not buying it. You know, hey, I would like to see George St. Pierre fight Anderson Silva as well, just because all the talk and all the hype. But I'm letting you know, it won't go the way you think it would go. That's why why do you think George St. Pierre is not taking his fight yet? Because he said himself, if he ever beats Anderson Silva, he's retiring. Because, you know, there'll be nothing else for him to do, really. He beat the best. And in his mind, he thinks Anderson Silva is the best. And if he fights him right now, he's going to get crushed. And if he fights him, in my opinion, George St. Pierre may be able to put up a little bit of a fight, but not nearly the fight that Chael put up against Anderson. I believe you're not going to see a guy dominate Anderson like that, except for Chael Sonnen, a guy like Jon Jones, a guy like Rashad Evans. You know, George St. Pierre, if you think that he can give Jon Jones some competition in wrestling, I rest my case. I'm done. I don't even want to talk to you anymore, because you really don't live on a place I like to call Earth. You know, you're just a George St. Pierre, you know, lover. And I understand there's nothing wrong with liking the guy, because he's a very likable guy. But just like Anderson Silva is my favorite fighter, I still will admit, if he fights Jon Jones, he's going to get murdered. Because the simple fact, Jon Jones, his wrestling is better than Chael Sonnen. If Jon Jones take Anderson Silva down, he's going to beat a hole in his head. Now, I do believe that Anderson Silva is the best striker in MMA. And I don't believe that Jon Jones has a chance with Anderson Silva on the feet. I think that Anderson Silva would destroy anybody on the feet, even though Chael Sonnen got a little lucky hits in here and there on the feet. But that's because Anderson Silva was mostly worried about getting taken down. You know, his mind wasn't really on the striking. You know, he wasn't paying attention to Chael's strikes, you know. But like I said, bottom line, only guys like George St. Pierre, Jon Jones, and Chael Sonnen are going to give Anderson big problems because of their wrestling background, and they're just so dominant when it comes to it. Jon Jones will be a total nightmare for Anderson Silva. I don't think Anderson Silva should fight Jon Jones. Do I think Jon Jones is a better fighter than Anderson Silva? No, hell no. I just think he's a much better wrestler. I think he's very strong. He's explosive. He has longer limbs than Anderson Silva, and I just think it would be a nightmare for him. Same way I think that Anderson Silva would be a nightmare for George St. Pierre. If you don't like it, go somewhere. I give props to George St. Pierre for being a welterweight champion, but he needs to stay there. And if he does come up to 185, he needs to fight somebody, you know, somebody else, you know, maybe a guy like Chris Leben, you know, maybe a guy like Chael Sonnen. Even though I know Chael Sonnen would beat George St. Pierre, but it still would be a fun fight to watch. It would be interesting because Chael Sonnen is not that great of a striker. He's only a wrestler. And that would prove right then and there that Chael Sonnen is a much better wrestler than George St. Pierre. You guys let me know what you think. Hit me up with your comments. Please rate, subscribe. Don't get disrespectful, and stay classy. Yeah.